But without further ado, we've got Dedie coming out from post-surgery to do this, so that's why she's sitting. Thank you, Dedie, for doing that.
No problem.
She's going to present knitCompanion, and Dedie is probably, shall I say, expert? Adept?
Well, I do okay.
Okay.
We'll say that.
She's one of the people here that really knows knitCompanion. So without further ado, Dedie Baker. And thank you all.
If you don't mind, I'm just going to sit, and I want to tell you a couple things about this first. I have had this at least since 2014. I think 2012 or 13 is when it first came out. And back then, it was only on your iPad. Well, my older iPad, the bigger one, which I wish I could have used that one for this, but it can't upgrade anymore. So you know how it is. So when they first came out with this, it was only for Apple products. And you could put it on your phone, my old 4S or whatever that thing is. I could use that with their original programming. And then about 2 years ago, Apple changed some of its prerequisites and stuff. So you couldn't upgrade even to the new KC on here, and I'll just call it KC. You couldn't even upgrade to the new KC unless you had a certain Apple iOS on your phone and iPad and stuff like that. So I have this is a iPad mini. It's the second one I've had. My older one, that's as far as it can go, so it can only do certain things. Well, as they've progressed and added newer options to the KC program, you have to be able to use a newer iOS program on it. So only recently did I want to update this and get 15 point whatever it is now, you know, that kind of thing. So just be aware of that. But now they've got an Android. Well, I only have Apple phones and iPads. I don't have a tablet or Android phone. So I don't know anything about that. If you have a Samsung phone or Samsung tablet, they work differently. I can only tell you my experience through the Apple products, so just be aware of that. I posted a handout that they sent you in the newsletter. Did anybody look at it and click on any of the links that were in there? Raise your hand, hurry. Okay, I would take that and save it. It's a PDF, save it, because, and I made mention in there of going through this stuff. It's almost mind-boggling what you can do. I don't know all of it, but there's a bunch of links in there for you and stuff. So be sure you do save that. These are just like my little instructions for what I wanted to kind of show you today. So don't just toss that out of there. Save it on your computer. You can save it on a computer, and I wouldn't be surprised if it won't be long before some of this is available on a PC or a MacBook or whatever, okay? All right, so let me do this, and I'm going to close this out so you can see. Down here is the little, there's the icon right there. See where that is? Right here. And that's the knitCompanion icon, the newest one. Now, when I open this up for me, it shows you, well, I've got projects and stuff in there. Well, when you first download this, you won't have anything in there. So you're not going to see projects and things like this in there. And and actually that scarf that I did, that I showed you, it was off of here. I put that in there, kept track of what I did because I didn't want it real wide, I didn't want it real long, and my yarn was different and so on. So I do try and keep track of it.
Dedie, is this the free version or the paid version?
This is the paid version, and I can kind of give you an idea of what you get for free. It's worth it for free because you can, it works like a PDF reader, but you have a little more that you can do with it as opposed to some of the online free PDF readers out there. So let me show you how, what I wanted to do was explain to you what these things are on the top and the side. On the, hang on, there we go. On the settings up here, you've got general, and that was a button down here on the side. So it's going to come up with some information there for you, and you have your knitter's name, and that's me right there, Dedie. I have a couple of things turned off and on here for block sleep, a quick start, show simple counter names. The other things I haven't fooled with, I don't need those, as far as I'm concerned. The files, you can show images on them. We have a file view, is a grid or a list, and you can choose whichever. I have it in a grid, that's when you saw the squares with the different patterns. I'm better with visual stuff, so that's what I liked. The sounds, I don't need no clicking sounds. So I turned off the ones that are the counters, and there is an autoplay in there so that you can actually do a voice thing that says, knit row 5, all purls or something if you would want. And as soon as you hit row 5, if that was on auto, it would play that. Well, I don't need that either. So, but then the voice control is on. So I can put in a voice memo when you get to row 10, that's your last row, or change needles, or whatever you want to do. And then here on, the markers and colors, it's a little, I can't read either one of these real good. These are settings that you can change. The row slider is initially in blue. The stitch slider is also in blue. But you can change how wide it is and how narrow it is and what color it is and whether it shows or not. So these are things that when you bring in a new pattern, boom, some of these are already set for you because that's the way you like it. You can leave it all. I'm not exactly sure what this looks like when you first get into here. There's a little thing called, and I also have this thing called invert. You can see I have odd rows and even rows are the same gray color. That's because when I do a chart, I like to see everything grayed out except for the white row that I'm on. And you can do that. So I'll show you that. There's a little red "you are here" thing. It's like a little diamond shape. Check grid is what you use when you're setting up your charts. It helps you to get your charts in really good. And then the linked accounts. This is really a cool thing. I don't know how many PDFs I have in Ravelry. There's probably several hundred more, I don't know. So let's say I want to do a pattern that I have the PDF for. Maybe it was free, maybe it was paid for, maybe it was gifted and stuff like that. Well, they're in my Ravelry because that's where I primarily buy my patterns and stuff. So I have this to Dropbox and to Ravelry and Create to Thrive also. So they're all linked. So if I go, and I'll show you when we get up here, you can click on one and boom, find it in there, click on it again, and now it's in knitCompanion. It's that easy. Pretty cool, pretty cool. Okay, so that's your settings. And then an upgrade, I don't need an upgrade, but if I would click it, it'll tell me that I've already got that in here. So setup and essentials are two different aspects. The free one has only so much you can do. It's just like anybody else who has an app out there. It's paid, whatever the things are. So you have setup gives you things that you can do in setup with some highlights and things like that. And the essentials gives you all the cream of the crop stuff. So it's $14.99 a year. It's worth it to me. So I do that. This next one is designs. Now, I'm having an issue, and I don't know if it's because it's my iPad, but they have certain designs from Knit to Thrive, which is knitCompanion, Sally Holt's business, that come with this. And I don't know why these sort of don't show on here. It might be something I turned off. I don't know. So here's my PDFs. So when I open this up, you see a little bar up here, and it has local, Ravelry, and Dropbox. Well, local means when I hit the little PDF bar over here, or PDF button, those are the ones I have on the hard drive, so to speak, of my iPad or my phone, whichever it is. And they work independent, so that when I'm working on maybe on my phone, it's not exactly in the same spot that this is on my iPad. So I like socks. I do a lot of socks, and sometimes all I need is that pattern, the chart. I don't need anything else. I do my own general sock, vanilla sock thing, but I want that pattern so I can go around the leg and then down the front of the foot until I get to my toes, and the rest of it's all generic. So you have that. And projects, these are the ones that I took a PDF and turned it into a project. So these are projects that are stored on the hard drive as well. You have the option, and there's little buttons here. Let me see if I can find one here. You see, once you click the little 3 buttons, you have, one of them's a copy, I forget exactly what the second one is. The third one is send it off, and then you see the little cloud guy? Send it to Dropbox. So you're not hogging the hard drive on here, and then you can delete it when you're done. But where is it? It's out there in Dropbox. If you do the little cloud, maybe you do Box. I think that's another computer storage place out there on the, what's the Wi-Fi password? Oh,
You can just cancel that.
yeah, I don't need that. No. What's going on here? There we go. It'll come back. So that's some of the different options that you have, and of course those all bopped off of there, didn't they? And then you have the little suitcase thing. Well, that means compress it. So it's smaller, but you can compress it on your hard drive on here, and it'll be smaller, won't take up so much room, and then obviously the last red trash can is to delete it. So let's say that you have finished the project, you've sent it off to Dropbox, and you got about a dozen things going on in here. You can delete it. It only deletes it there. It doesn't take it out of Dropbox. So next Christmas, when you want to finish that Christmas hat that you were going to use this year, you can go back and download it back in here. Okay?
Does it save all your preferences? Because when you go into setup, I'm sure you're going to show this in a minute. Does it save all that stuff?
On that first
The Dropbox
screen?
stuff?
Most of it, yeah.
Okay.
Sometimes not absolutely everything, because there isn't a way to totally set everything up like that. But the main things, yeah, it does. Okay, so this was this little scarf that I did. It's in a bag here somewhere. All right, so now, let me close that off. You just click in a different space. I want to go to a PDF. And I have quite a few that are on here. See, this is where it's getting hard for me to see. I'm having vision issues. Where is it? Let's see, which one did I pull in here? Blah, 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 blah. Okay. Oh, here it is. Here it is. Trident socks. This is a little pattern that I recently got. It's cute. I liked it, and I thought, oh, this would be good. Okay, so all I have to do is click this, and it says Start Project up here. These are the 5 pages that I don't remember. Very Busy Monkey. I've had a couple of her patterns. They're nice. That she put out. And so here's page 1. Page 2, and of course it's not totally like that, but you can scroll upward just like you can on almost anything. Here's a little key for what your SSK and Pearl and so on, your legend is. The top part here is going to be mostly your instructions. And what does this say? Row 2, row 5, row 6, row 7, and you can do it that way if you want. You can make a chart, and I believe she has 2 charts in here, because I think on this one she did a 64 stitch and a 72 stitch. So they're almost identical, there's just a slight difference. Everybody see that okay?
Yeah.
Or reasonably okay? Okay, and then there's more stuff down here. On the other sock, that's a bigger size, I believe. And then that's what you are, you're on page 5. Up here at the top it says to start your project. So let's assume you all go ahead and get the free one. I'm going to say start project. It wants you to put a name in here, and you can't really see. I'm just going to put XXXXX, okay? And then create project. There it is. It's now ready to go. All right, the first thing you see on any of these pages is going to be this ginormous blue
bar.
It's a row reminder is what it is. And so I don't like that where it is, and I don't like how fat it is, and that it's the same thing as like looking at those pages. All you do is go up to edit, oops, edit, see there's 3 little buttons up there too, you have to fiddle with that. So now on your edit page, you have a highlight, you have an annotation button, you have a slider button. Well, that's what this is considered, a slider. So I'm going to hit my slider, and there it is. Now I have, and you saw this earlier when we went to size it. Well, I don't need it like that. I like to take it skinny, move it where I want it, and then there's a stitch slider that shows I have it whited out, so I don't see it. But if I would change the color, there it is. So you have an option. You know, maybe some people might want to do something on a column. Maybe you have 2 columns on your PDF. Well, if you put that on one side, you know, and you close it up and you come back next week, oh yeah, I'm on that side. I mean, you can kind of customize any of this. So I'm going to go back, and you can also just turn it off. There's a show button. Well, I always have it to show, because there are pages that I look at as I'm knitting and I move down and stuff like that. But 99% of the time, I do a chart, because I just find them easier to work with. Okay, so let me see where we are here. Okay, that was there. Okay, so let me go back to these things here, and I'm on a different page now, but let me go back to page 1. That's a magic marker. It doesn't work on here for this, but there's a counter. You have 2 different types of counters on here. And up here at the very top is 3 little dots, and the box on the left is it allows you to go from your home screen to your iPad to check on another app. Let's say you were watching the news or something. You can go to the middle, it'll slide it over, you can click on your calendar, it'll come up. How about that? That's pretty cool, I thought. And then when you're ready to go back, you just go back, and it goes right to where you were. So it's not like you have to double click and stuff. And then the top button on the right, I forget, no, because I don't use it. This is new. This is new. Then it just puts it on the right-hand side for you. So I kind of like it. It's here, come on. There we go. You just have to touch it. Okay, so that's what that is. And then these little buttons here, this is your PDF. So if you're not sure where you are, you're on a PDF looking to make adjustments and changes and stuff. If I don't want to see that bottom stuff and the top stuff, those 2 buttons there, take it off, get it out of your way so you can see your chart better, or your words and things, your print better. Put them back, you just re-tap them, and they'll go back on there. Okay, so let's pretend, and this stays where you leave it. Let's pretend you wanted to do something here. You're going to do the heel flap. So here we are. We want that row to show. Well, that's all I wanted to do on this page. So I'm going to hit knit. There it is. Now it's the project. And if you notice, it's just a little bit different. Those items are off of the sides. Those are your tools. Think of it as that's your toolbox. One of them is called edit, and the other one is called setup. Now, if you do setup, see, I guess if I didn't hit that, you could see which ones you could use. But I always end up having to change it to yes, because there are things in setup that I want that aren't available in just the general or the free one. So I'm going to hit yes. And it doesn't change a huge amount, but when you're wanting to do stuff, you hit this plus sign, and then you have options that you can make. And they call them pieces, and I think that was a hard word for me to kind of get in my head, a piece. It's a pattern page. It's a new page that you're going to create to add to those 5 that are up there. And one of the things that I like to have is a key. Whoops. A key. So I'm going to hit the key, hit the plus. I'm trying to do it so you can see, and hit the key. Well, it's going to come up and it says, well, what page do you want? Where is that key? I believe it was on page 1, I think. If not, I'll go back. Oops, wait a minute. No, maybe it was page 2. I think it was 2, you're right. There's my trash can. I just deleted that. So key, 2, next. Tell me it's on there. Is it? No, it's not.
Usually it's the last page.
Well, you never know. So we're going to delete that one. Delete the key. Delete that. Oh, what's that on there for? We'll delete that too. Key.
30.
You think it's 3?
Yep.
See, it's so small. I'm just having a hard time with this. There it is. Okay, so now you see this little flashing arrow up here. This, maybe we'll get over here in the shade. Is it any better to see there?
Yeah.
All right, so you take your fingers and you zoom them out, like pinch and zoom out. And then you can take your stylus, whatever you want to use, slide it up, because what you're doing is you're cropping that section off of page 3 or whatever it was, and so that you can have it available at all times. So there's a little button down here, and it's this crop button. So I'm going to hit crop. Boom, there it is. And then it's cool. I mean, it's neat. So let's say you had a set of keys that was like 2 columns tall. I've had patterns that have, you know, 3 different sets of cables, it's SSK, 2 yarn overs, and all sorts of stuff. Well, you can crop that same page again and add it into that key so that you have the entire thing running across in the bottom of your pattern. All right, so I'm going to pretend that I'm done with that. I'm going to hit knit, and look what's down here. See it? I can slide this bar up, which is this bottom button here. Remember I said that's the top and the bottom. If I hit this, close that, it takes it away, but I want it back while I'm knitting so I can see this. You also can squeeze it to fit. My fingernails are in the way. Squeeze it to fit in here. Slide this down. Whoops. Let me get over here. So that it's down there, and I can leave it wherever I want. And at the left-hand side of that section, you'll see a little key. Well, if I wanted another key, I could have a key that has just cables in it. I could have a key that has, I don't know, you could put, I don't know what, something else in it if you want. You can have several keys. You can have words in there. It doesn't have to be that little picture. So you can do that. So when you hit knit up at the top, after you've made a change on one of those side things, either from a highlight or whatever, the knit button saves it. Now, I want to do a highlight, and the top number, or the top button here is a highlight, so it tells you down here, you sort of have to bounce around on your screen, which is a little awkward at times, but I'm going to do a new highlight. It says tap on the page to create a new highlight. There we go, there's a yellow one. Well, maybe I don't like that. I want it to be green, or blue. What's this one? And then I have a slider here. This is showing you how light colored it is. This will darken it, but you have to hit that again. Whoops, I went the wrong way. This will darken it. And there it is. It's still checked, but once you darken it, you have to hit that to make it stay that way. So if I want to move that, I can. Let's just pretend I want to change the size, and I want to highlight the 64 stitch business going on here. Work with me here. There we go. And I like that. But then there's some other direction right here that I want to highlight as well. You have a copy button. Do you see the little 2 papers down here?
Yep.
All right, hit that. boom, you hardly see it, there it is. So I don't want that the same color. Well, why would I? You know, I want to change it to yellow. And do I want it dark? Yes, I like it dark. We'll go there. So it's darker. So now I can put that under here. But ooh, see my mouse is not, or my little thing isn't. See what happens when you get to be old, your fingers don't work on these things so good. That's what I found. Okay, and now I realize, well damn, I can't read that. So I'm gonna change it to a lighter color. I'm going to change it a little bit. Oh, look at that. That's much better. So I'm going to go up here, and I'm going to do the same thing. But I like that color, so I just want to lighten it. And I'll hit that again, and there it is. You have a ton of things to do with those. Well, now, I'm still not done. I want to put a comment, a note, and the same thing. That's what that little button's for. And down here it tells you to click this button. And you have two choices, a pop-up, which looks like that little balloon kind of thing, or text. I'll do text first, and I'm going to say, right here is where I want it. And I'm just going to go CD, blah, 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 blah. Okay, because there it is. If I want to leave that there, that's the color that it comes up with. It's kind of a pinkish color. Again, you can change it. You can make it bigger and move it. Let's get it so that it fits. We'll put it down here. There we go. We can save it. Because when I go to knit this, that's going to save that exactly where it is. Now if I want to do another, and there's a delete bucket there that you can delete it. So I'm going to do a pop-up. Tap on the page. I'm going to put a pop-up there. It's little. I don't like these as much. I prefer to do this. You can change the colors. You can change the font size and stuff like that. So here's a little pop-up, and it says enter text here. Whoops, right there. So we're going to do the same thing. I can't see it. Okay, and there it goes. So when you click on it, whoops, wait a minute. It should be up. Oh, maybe I have to hit return. I don't think so. Oh, no, I just lost it. It's there. That's what I don't like those as much. I don't know why that's not working exactly. But there you go. All right, so now let me see where I am on my little list here. How are we on time? Doing okay? Yeah, all right. I just want to, okay. Another row sliders. Notes, counters. Now this is another option that I truthfully don't use a huge amount when I go to knit. Oh, maybe that's what I had. Oh, sorry, I didn't save it. So it took it out. There's nothing on there. So when you click that, you'll see that on your paper. I just don't use those as often. I would rather have the page come up with that little note right there, you know, or check your count, or change yarns, use a new needle, and use smaller needles, something like that, and you can move them around on here. The next thing is, the road sliders. These are little counters down here. I truthfully don't use them very much because
I use those all the time.
now see, Margie, I don't, because I would forget to click it. You know, you have to figure out what's going to work for you, and when you do these, let's see. You can name that count, and let's just say what, buttonholes maybe. You want 9 buttonholes. Well, you set that up, and then as you go knitting to it, you're going to click 1 when you finish the first one, and then 2, you'll click it again, and it will keep count, and it won't just say count, it'll say buttonhole. It's kind of hard to read, but it's there. So if you think, oh, now how many buttonholes did I do? Oh, I've only done 3, I got 6 more to go, or whatever it might be. So it's helpful. So here's I'm on my knitting. So that's where I am. This tells you, where are you? You're knitting. Okay. So here, this doesn't move, see? That stays there, that highlight does, but my row counter still moves.
Okay. Well, I want to say
Sure.
something about row counter. You know, she puts her row counter underneath the row.
Yep,
I highlight the row.
yep. Because you can change that color and the density of that color to do it that way.
And I started doing the underline, and it just, all of a sudden, it seemed much easier, after I had my cataract surgery, it seemed much easier to highlight the whole row. But I also use on a complicated pattern, that like, maybe it has part of the pattern in parentheses, it says use 9 times. Well,
Right.
I just highlight the part that's in parentheses.
Oh, and then counter.
Bar and the counter.
Yeah, yeah. That would be a way of doing it. Okay, so let's do, I want to make a new piece. I want to make a chart. See, now I can make it, whoops, ooh, did I hit it? No. I can make a text piece, I can do a chart, I can do the key. Now see, I did the key already. The chart piece is what I'll do next. 99% of the time, that's what I do first. So, because I'll read through it and it's enough information for me. I have to select the page, it's on page 4. I have to hit next, and there's this. Now this is where it comes in really handy. Drag that thing, and you can make this a little bigger if you want. You can also close off the top part so you have more room, but you need this down here. So you're gonna slowly bring this down to, and if I tap this, it moves it by like a pixel. Can you see that? I wouldn't do it from way over there, but I can tap inside my, see it move?
Yeah.
Okay, that's close enough. Maybe one more. And then this one, I can get right on there. All right, now I'm going to show you 2 options here. You have to fill in down here the visible rows. So if you've already yanked these off of here, now I'm going to just move this down. What does that say? 16. There's 16 there. Oh, this one's 16 by 16. So you have to indicate that in here, so when knitCompanion's looking for that chart, it knows, oh, well, this is what you want. So the rows was 16, so it has a 1 in there. Sometimes you have to back it off. Okay, and then the number of stitches on this particular one was also 16. Well, you rarely find that, I'll tell you. And so let me push this down. Let's just pretend that I didn't quite get that there. I left it down here. You see this little square with the check mark in it? When I hit that, can you see how there's lines? It doesn't match up right. Oh, well, obviously I didn't do something. So I'm going to uncheck it. And just so you know, it's easy. Don't delete it. Did I get on there? So now when I check it, boom, there. You can't see the color in here. It's a blue color. And I think you can change it to red, but I don't know that that always works. So here it is, it's lining up. You don't see any extra lines coming on the side or at the top or the bottom. And so now you would hit this crop button. We've got the 16 and the 16 on here. And down here at the very bottom, it says first row is a 1. Well, sometimes these patterns have right side rows only. So it'll go 1, 3, 5, 7, 9. Well, that's what this option is for right here, where it says count by 1 or count by 2. So if you count by 2, it'll show like a little kind of a funny little line on there on your chart when you make this piece up. So you can tell, oh, I'm not on row 1, I'm on row 2 now, or I'm on row 4 or 6, because it's going to look different. You're not going to see the whole row. So that'll help. And then, let's see. So here we are. I'm going to just uncheck that because I don't need that. I'm going to hit knit, and there it is. And see how it's inverted? Well, here's your 1 count, your 1 row counter. and it's ready to go. So I've got my first row. The only issue that I have is I like to see the numbers. So let me do this. Let me go back to setup. And there it is. I'm going to leave it at 16 and 16. I'm going to recrop it. Is it this one? Recrop. It says remove items. So I'm going to recrop this page. It's only going to take a second. And I'll say yes. So boom, there it takes me back to, so it's not totally lost, but any color highlights or something, you'll lose that. So what I do sometimes is, I gotta zoom it in a little bit. Okay, so you see the numbers up here for my rows? I cheat. If I can make it work, I'll do it. I know it's kind of like, oh, how could you do that? Well, I can. And it works sometimes, and sometimes it does not. It takes you a little more time to fiddle with it, because what you're trying to do is create a box around that 16 and a box around that 14 or whatever it is, that's the same size as these boxes. Does that make sense? Okay, so you're going to cheat, and you're going to say it's, what, 17 rows? And 16 stitches. Because it's, or 17 stitches, I mean. So it makes sense, doesn't it? Like I said, sometimes it doesn't work, and sometimes it works good enough. I don't know what else to tell you. You can hit this little thing here, and it's off a little. You can see it's off. Well, we're not going to worry.
Because you did the top and the bottom,
Uh-huh.
so it's 18 visible rows.
Oh, it should be 17, right?
No, because you added
See,
the
I'm a
top and
math
the
problem
bottom.
here. So it should be how many?
18.
Oh, you're right, you're right. So it's 18 rows. See, that's where I'm at with math in my life. I can spell anything. My husband does all the math. Okay, so we'll undo that. We'll click it one more time. Oh, look at that. Look at that. Pretty sneaky, right? Don't you think? So I'm going to hit knit. And boom! I know what row that is down there. I know exactly what stitch I'm on because I can see it. Now, as I move up, see, I told you on the very beginning in my settings, I set that to be inverted so that I can do it that way. I can always change that. So you
And you can put the vertical bar in there too.
You can, right. So that would be under, not that, under edit, and that would be your slider bars right here. So I have it turned off and stuff. So here's my stitch slider, which was white. Let's put it in, well, we'll do blue, I guess, and give it some color. There it is. You can see it. I just don't find that I need it. I'm not going to hit that thing every time I do a stitch. So that's what that's all.
So to move that stitch marker,
Uh-huh.
your hands have to leave the needles and go to the iPad and physically move it.
Correct. And it's like I'm not doing
It
it.
it depends on the pattern,
Yeah.
whether I do it, maybe there's, in a written pattern, it would be 4 stitches in a parentheses or something, and maybe I'll skip it ahead 4 stitches.
If I change that invert, look what it does. And that's the row I'm on, and I don't like that. So I did it that way.
So there's no voice command that
Yep.
says go to next row?
Yes?
Okay, now we're cooking.
All right. Yeah, but wait, let's see, setup.
Wait, there's more?
Wait, there's more. Let's see, I forget where that one is. It's under setup, I thought.
Don't start with the real complicated pattern.
Yeah, don't, yeah, that's a good idea.
Do something very simple as a test piece. It just depends on the pattern.
You know, I'm not sure where that voice thing is because I don't use it. to be honest with you. It's here. You know, it might be at,
Is it in your
you have to-
settings?
yeah, it's probably in the settings, and you have to like turn it on, but I thought it was turned on. Oh, here it is. It's in your, the little note things. Here it is down here.
That's a note to yourself.
Go to row 3. Let's see if that's working. I honestly don't know because I don't use it. No, that's it. This is where it is. I'm just not sure on that, ladies. Sorry. But then pieces. So this is, you know, your chart. I usually just name it chart because I'm generally speaking I only have one chart. So otherwise it goes here as page 6. Well, you can go back in and edit that and change the name of it and stuff. And then let's pretend that you want to highlight all of your, does this have, yeah, this has SSKs on it, and knit two togethers. So this is a good option to actually go back to your knit, and down here, let's just assume you can't remember so much. And that little red thing, that's that little, here you are. And I'll show you how that works too in just a minute. But here's this legend. SSK leans to the left. I usually mark them in blue, and knit two together leans to the right. I just usually do either yellow or like green or something so that I know what I'm doing. And you can edit that in here as well and put that highlight in here. So edit, and I want to do a highlight. I have to hit my key because that's where it is. So don't forget that when you're seeing your pages, you're on your pages. Your key is what you're looking for. So I hit a highlight. It says tap where you want it. SSK. And it puts a little square on there, and it's pretty close to size. We'll leave it, I'm going to change it to blue. Okay, and then I'm going to hit a plus, knit two together, and I'll change that one to orange. And I can center it a little bit better. I can go up here and get that, see how that filled that a little bit better. And so then you can go back to knit, and boom, there they are. Well, now I'm on my chart, and I want to do setup on my chart, and I want to do, whoops, I did the wrong one. I want edit, not setup, sorry. I want to do highlight, click where I want to highlight, and then tap on the page. So my SSKs, I'm going to click on it. Wait a minute, it's not going in there good the way I like it. There we go. And then you can then do the copy and slide it down on, where's the next one over here? Whoopsie, don't do that. There's one way over here. Okay, so that's one method of highlighting something like that. And so I'll hit knit, and then you can see there they are up there.
Doesn't do your whole chart.
No, when it's inverted like this, then boom, there it is. But you can do it by doing magic markers. And that's what this little guy is down here. It's got the little star, the little wand, and the checker box looking. So it says tap the plus to add a marker. And what we want is called a magic marker here. You know what? I had this hat under here before. That's why it's doing that so much. Okay, so tap the magic marker, and then it says, please tap on a stitch to select. So let's say you forget to do your SSKs all the time or your knit two togethers. So what you would do is click on one of them. There's one right there. And now and you can color it here. And you can call this SSK. That's what I'll do. I'll put a name in there and I'll just say SSK. Okay. Do I want that color? No, I don't. I'm going to put it to be blue. And I want, it's going to search by black and white because this is not a color printed chart. If you had a color printed chart, you could, all the SSKs might already be red or blue or something like that. Or a section, it could be that way also. So you can search for color or for grayscale. SSK, we're going to start the count at 6. Well, we want to show all. So we're going to hit it. And then every time you make an adjustment here for it to save, you have to hit the little button right here. Boom, there they are. And they're blue. So you didn't have to do a highlight. You can actually, maybe the highlight was only for a bead. You only wanted a bead in one place every chart. You could just put a highlight instead of selecting this.
You do have the advantage of, it's very pink, has videos.
Oh, very pink. She's got, yeah, that's on my list.
She's got 12, I think, videos.
14.
And every time a new feature comes out, she will do a new video,
Right.
which you can watch, and you can listen to it as many times as you need to, and it will show you how to use each one of these features.
Right, and if you go back to the handout thing we put in the newsletter, the knitCompanion also has videos, and they have they have tabs that go all the way across for stuff. It's almost like I said, mind-boggling how much you can do, but just start with something simple, you know. But this is a really handy thing, I think, and it shows all of them. Now, another thing that you can do is, let me do another one. There they are. Let me go to knit. Knit. Now, there they are on my chart, and they're all marked. And if I want to do the other ones, let's say there were 3 or 4 over here that didn't show up. There is oh no, I always hit the wrong one. There's so many buttons on here. I want to do a new one. Well, let's pretend that there was something in there and it didn't show up. You see this little slider, it says more and less. Well, sometimes, because of it being so busy, it may not pick all of them. But let's say it picked 2 more than you wanted on there, 2 more that weren't an SSK. You can actually hit these and uncheck it. Did you see that?
Yep.
So then you would go back up to knit, it would save it. So we're going to just save it. But otherwise I would have left those there. So if I'm going to go back, see those 3 dots are new for me. I keep hitting them. There's that. And I want to do something different. No, that's not what I want. Yes. Sure. Oh, yeah. Yeah, that's fine. Here's the plus sign, and I'm going to do a custom marker. Now, there aren't any cables on here, but I'm going to pretend that there is. So it's going to say, I'm going to just say something on here, because let's pretend it's a 4-stitch cable or a 6-stitch cable, and you want that on there. So it's going to be start, the count here is, let's say they have 6, but you want it to start at 4, just because. It doesn't matter. You can change that. So if that cable is 6, you would want it to start at 6. You don't want it at 4 because it might pick up 4-stitch cables. You don't want that. So you kind of have to tell it exactly what you're looking for. And then start the count. And then I'm going to drag, if I can get that to come over here. Come on. Well, I might have to tap it. I don't know why it's not. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So see, so wherever this shows up like this, I'm going to do knit to save that. And there aren't any others the way that that looks like, but if there were, it would pick them up in the different places on here. So how are we for time? All right, does anybody have questions on this? And you can call, if somebody has a question, call me. I'm in the book, the
So
little,
most of the settings you've got there, this is because it's a paid version, right? Because I pulled it up and it looks like, when I try to do some editing, it takes me to the.
that's right. You're only gonna get the very basics with it. And you had magic markers with the free one a few years ago, but they changed that. I mean, you know, yeah. But I like it.
There's a question back here.
Yeah,
I've got patterns on each of my iPads,
perfect.
but how do I switch or get them from the transfer to my new iPad?
Okay, so you have an iPad that it's already in there?
Yes, I have them. I have the program on each of my iPads, and then when I get a new iPad, I haven't been able to transfer the program. I have to start
Okay,
all
oh,
over
so
again.
you know what you need to do? Now, I'm not gonna guarantee this, but you probably need to export them to Dropbox. Dropbox is free up to a lot. I mean, it holds a lot. Export them to Dropbox, and then when you go in to find a,
Okay, then all I
pattern.
do-
so you would go to Dropbox, and see, this is gonna pull up my Dropbox. You connect them on your Wi-Fi, and then you go through this and say, oh, I want that, but you would export them off of there first. I guarantee you, if you don't, you'll lose them. If you take it to the store and the guy says, oh yeah, everything will transfer, doesn't work that way.
I've got everything else to transfer, but my knitCompanion does not.
The app itself?
Well, the app should, because when you go to the app store, you go to the little button that says download or get or whatever it has, you should be able to download it with the download button. That it should show that you already have it on your other one.
It hasn't. I've got 4 iPads, and I've had to download.
Well, let's get on the phone and we'll figure it out. Because I have it on all of mine and my phone. So maybe there's just 1 or 2 little things you have to do. Okay. Anybody else? And did you also know that if you go to the Create to Thrive, that's Sally's store thing? And if you see a pattern in there on Ravelry and it says KC, go on, you can turn the lights on. It says something like, it's got a little button that shows KC Designs or something. You can click that and download it from her website. It's already set up. It's $4 more than what the pattern sells for on Ravelry. That's all. So for $4, there have been a few that I've bought that way, and I like doing it. You know, it keeps you understanding what you're doing and how to use it, pretty much, I think. So, all right.